Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider.
These are good problems to have, right? So much success that you have more than one place to be.
5-3, touchdown, Oregon.
Off a dribble, launches, and hits the three. Oregon leads.
What a great opportunity it is to be able to play at University of Oregon.
I'm just incredibly proud to be a part of something like this.
She wants another three. Oh, three in a row.
Oregon is headed to the Super Regional. Big Ten champions, your Oregon Ducks.
We are so privileged and so fortunate. We get to see all these young people. We get to see this incredible growth, which is what college is all about.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
All right. Today is one of the less fortunate shows of the year. I'm Joey Mack. Ryan was here yesterday. And I talked to Ryan in the morning after getting back from Seattle, and I just said, all right, do you need me to come into the studio? And Ryan, in very Ryan fashion, just goes, no, I'm going to be all right. We're going to break it down. We got a lot to talk about. And I felt like I needed a day to just chew on the Oregon men's basketball season and the Oregon women's basketball season. So today we're going to unpack all of that. Now, we thought we were going to have some baseball games. For those of you that are tuning in and going, hey, I thought that we would have some baseball games on the road in Ohio today, but instead you're stuck listening to me talk about the basketball seasons. Well, that's because in, this time of year fashion, it's snowing in Ohio, and the Duck baseball team isn't going to play the two midweek games against Kent State here today, Tuesday, and then tomorrow, Wednesday. So instead, it's just a road trip to Ohio State for those Big Ten games. Well, that means that today, instead, we're talking a little hoops. We're going to jump into a lot of different perspectives from the men's season and the women's season, talk with Coach Graves. Over the course of the week, we'll also hear from Coach Menega. And, look, the truth is the page turns very quickly. The transfer portal is open. Rosters are going to change in a hurry throughout the country. And although the Sweet 16 has yet to be played in March Madness, all those teams that are no longer playing in the field, whether it be in the NCAA tournament or one of the other tournaments like the NIT throughout the nation, rosters change now. And there's already going to be some movement around the Oregon programs that we'll break down. Also, women's golf and men's golf are both in action today. The men's team, if you're in the Eugene area, they're playing at Eugene Country Club today. The Duck Invitational, Oregon on the course now. They were tied for the lead after 36 holes yesterday at ECC. And by the way, sometimes it just works out. What a great 2 days of weather in Eugene at Eugene Country Club. This is when the Duck Invitational sings, and this is why, a week like this is why Oregon hosted the national championship at Eugene Country Club when the men's team for Casey Martin won it. That putt that Sulman Raza hit is still one of my greatest moments in my career just following Oregon athletics. There was a social post, maybe 2-3 years ago, that was like, describe as plainly as possible you can a moment in sports that you remember forever that maybe like not everyone gets it, not everyone knows what it is. Chris Clayton's actually here in the studio today. We'll break down a lot of women's basketball. He probably remembers this. Well, mine was like a guy from Eugene hit a putt in Eugene. Sulman Raza, Eugene native, won the national championship at Eugene Country Club on a beautiful sunshining day. That's what today felt like at ECC. Best of luck to Oregon men's golf. And if you can't tell by now, I'm sort of avoiding the eulogy that's coming for Oregon men's and women's basketball. We're also going to touch on the diamond sports, baseball, softball. They're both on the road this week. We'll get to all that. Actually, though, good news first. I'm going to continue to avoid the subject. As voted on by their peers, Jerry Schumacher and Shalane Flanagan are the National Indoor Women's Coach and Assistant Coach of the Year, respectively, announced by the Coaches Association yesterday afternoon. The women of Oregon swept the Big Ten in the NCAA Indoor Team Championships. The U.S. Track and Field and Cross Country Coaches Association, the USTFCCCA, it's one of the longest acronyms in all of sports, and I say it all the time, and I still feel like I'm going to say it wrong. The member coaches voted on the national honors following the conclusion of the NCAA meet, and then performances throughout the season were also considered. Already the Big Ten Women's Coach of the Year, Schumacher adds national accolades on the heels of the Ducks' NCAA indoor title less than 2 weeks ago in Virginia Beach. The Oregon women scored 55 points across 6 events at the national meet, finished 16 points clear of the field. You look at the form charts for these track and field meets. Okay, you're going to score some points there. Okay, you might score some points here. If somebody flounders, you might be able to move up a few points. A lot of things went right for the Ducks. But also, Oregon, maybe more than any other program, had some personal bests that really catapulted the Ducks in the standings. And that's awesome. That's why Jerry Schumacher is the National Coach of the Year. Schumacher and the Ducks began the postseason with a dominant performance at the Big Ten Indoor Championships, and a lot of it was because of Shalane Flanagan. The distance group that she manages accounted for 23 points at the NCAA Indoor Championships, including a win for Wilma Nielsen in the mile. She and Shalana Ayildez combined for 15 points in the first day, running a couple different events. Both members of the national runner-up DMR the previous night for the Ducks as well. And at the conference level, the women's distance crew racked up 79 points at the Big Ten Championship. That is an outstanding accomplishment. And how many times do we sit here in the Country Financial studio, do we talk amongst Oregon fans, and it's like, yeah, of course Jerry Schumacher and Shalane Flanagan won national awards for coaching. That's just what happens at the University of Oregon. It's what happens in Tracktown, USA. Still one heck of an accomplishment for the Oregon track and field squad. Next home meet for the Ducks is the Oregon Open and the Team Invitational, April 18th to 19th. Ducks outdoor season began last weekend with the Oregon Preview at Hayward Field. Tickets for the rest of that home schedule, which does include the Big Ten Outdoor Championships and the NCAA Outdoor Championships, are currently on sale. Looking forward to it. Congratulations to Jerry Schumacher and Shalane Flanagan. Hope to have them in the Country Financial studio soon. The track season, admittedly, a little bit behind the broadcast for you. Like, scheduling times with the track and field coaches is immensely difficult because they're often in like 3 different places over the course of the entire season, right? Like, some weekends you're split squad, and so there's a lot of logistics that come with it, and the management of that program, I'm always amazed at just the level of engineering almost that it takes to do all of it. Pretty wild. Okay. I almost got through the entire first segment. You know, what a season on the hardwood for both teams. So let's start here. If you're one of the last 2 playing, Chris put his mic on. Uh-oh. That's right. Both teams did play their hearts out. I'm with you. You know what? That's a good point. All right, if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, Facebook, YouTube, your thoughts. The season that was. Okay, first of all, one of 14 schools to have both men's and women's teams advance to the round of 32. Talk about broad-based excellence here in the Casanova Center, in the Oregon Athletic Department. That's broad-based excellence. One of the last 32 teams playing for the national championship. And I'll tell you what, the women were right there. I was listening to Chris, and down the stretch it was like just a couple things. That's March. Same thing for the Oregon men. The 10 missed free throws. That's going to sting a while. 12 of 22 at the line. For an Oregon team that this year was steady at the free throw line, often in the 70-80% range, averaged between 76% at the free throw line this year. It was the worst free throw shooting of the year, and it just came at the wrong time against the Wildcats. An Arizona team that wanted to turn it into a track meet, and did. And Oregon jumped out to such an amazing lead, it's hard to maintain that. You know it's a game of runs. You always hear basketball, it's a game of runs. But here's the deal. Without getting too hyper-focused on the Oregon-Arizona game for the men. 25 wins. A 25-10 record, 12-8 in the Big Ten. The Ducks are still undefeated under Dana Altman in the first round of the NCAA tournament. They're 9-0 if you count the VCU game that was a no contest. I really don't know the right record bookkeeping of that, because technically Oregon has advanced to the round of 32 9 times under Dana Altman, but is 8-0 in those games because it was a no contest. It was the COVID year in the bubble, where VCU couldn't play, so Oregon just advanced. I'll never forget that. I was sitting here in the studio because we were calling the games remotely. There was a TV sitting between me and the camera, and I just get this text from Nate Kruger, who was with the team at the time, going, "Hey, here's what's going on," and I'm like, "What do I say on the broadcast?" I don't. What game am I gonna call? That feels like it was so long ago. It wasn't. Anyway, I don't know if you say they're 9-0 or they're 8-0, but they've been to the round of 32. I think that's technically correct. They're 9-0, but they've been to the round. Or no, they're 8-0. Oh, they're 8-0, but they've been to the round of 32 9 times. In 15 seasons as the head coach, Dana Altman has been one of the last 32 teams playing 9 times. That's impressive. The Ducks still have more wins in the month of March in the last 15 years than any program in the country. Ducks have won 77 games in the month of March since Dana Altman's been the head coach at Oregon. Now, I know you want to win championships. Yes, absolutely. You want to win championships. But, man, the consistency, it says something. It says something. All right. Now, the individuals as well, and what the roster is going to look like next year. That's what everyone's going to focus on now. But before we get to that, just as the voice of the team, it was a heck of a run. The Ducks really played one bad week of basketball. The problem is they lost 3 games in that week, then went on the road and lost good games to top 25 competition in Michigan and Michigan State. Then Oregon was one of the better teams in the country down the stretch. And in March, Chris and I were talking about this before going live today. In March, sometimes it's just got to go your way. And it didn't. When we come back, we'll look ahead for the men, also break down the Oregon women's season, hear a bit from Kelly Graves. It's one of the worst shows when you review the year, but I sometimes think it's nice that it's now been almost 48 hours. Think about it a little more. The coaches are already turning the page. What's happening next year now? Heck of a season. All right, we'll come back, talk about it more, take some of your thoughts after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial.
Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Ma, is this how you feed a hamster?
I think so.
Is my homework right?
I think so.
Is, this milk still good?
I think so.
When it comes to parenting, sometimes it's okay to think you know. But when it's something as important as your child's car seat, don't just think. Know. Double check if your child is in the right seat for their age and size. It'll help protect them in a car crash. Don't just think. Know by visiting nhtsa.gov/the right seat. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union, Joey Mack, the Country Financial Studio. You know, I agree with the YouTube comment. Like, both teams did play their hearts out, and I know, look, if you think that anyone is more upset than the people in those locker rooms, like, after a loss, like, the hours that go into it, that is a tough place to be. I've actually often thought about, this was my 8th season calling basketball, and I have never really wanted to be in the locker room after one of those games because it's just sad. Like, it is a tough thing to do. And, you know, again, maybe a little bit behind the scenes here. The locker room is open to the media after the game for half an hour. Like, it's a long time for people who just had their season come to an end that sit and talk and answer questions, and that's a hard thing to do. Especially because it's like, here's the order of operations. You lose, you do the handshake line, you're sad, you walk into the locker room, sitting there, coach talks, there's the conversation amongst the team, but then it moves very quickly right into, okay, we're doing interviews, you know? That's tough. It's tough for anybody, you know? Remove sports from it and just think about if you're in your line of work and you just had a devastating end to a project that you had been working on, and then let's go do some interviews for 30 minutes. I mean, the composure, I'm telling you, the composure of an 18 to 22-year-old in that moment, I am always just impressed by it. So, with that being said, then you move into on the women's side, okay? Kelly Graves just wins in the first round when he's an underdog, doesn't he? So Chris is here. He may know the number. What's the exact stat now for Coach Graves of wins as a double-digit seed?
As a double-digit seed, he's 10-8. A winning record.
A winning record
as an underdog.
As an underdog.
Yeah. And it's not, some coaches will be 3-1. They made one nice run, right? No, This is 18 games, and he's turned himself into the favorite as a double-digit seed. It's crazy.
Amazing. That's amazing. So 10 wins as a double-digit seed. And I know he mentioned, he didn't think anyone's won more as a double-digit seed than him. I can't think of anybody.
Among active coaches, nobody has. We know that for sure. But among the historically, didn't quite have enough time as an information department to do all the research on that.
All the digging.
But we'll work on it. He's got to be up there in the top 5 all time.
That's
incredible.
That's an off-season research project.
Yes.
That. But to put this in perspective, that program had to rebuild itself in the offseason, right? That program had to rebuild, and the roster looks so much different. We talk about how this is the transfer portal week now. That roster looks so different now than it did at this point last year. You bring in someone like Deja Kelly, make a splash. Deja won the Ducks so many games with clutch shots down the stretch. And then you have someone like Philly who played as well as she did this season after getting healthier and more in shape as the season moved forward. Well, then you're a 10 seed. You got in. Got to 20 wins again as a program. and had a chance against Duke to repeat what the Ducks did during that 2017 season. That team, okay, you talk about like the roster looked a lot different. That team that went on that Elite Eight run and lost to UConn, that team actually, I think, is more similar to this year's team maybe than we've even talked about on this show, and maybe has even been talked about around because of the roster difference and how fast it turned over. Now, it happened for different reasons. This team, a lot of transfers in this era of college basketball, reinventing the program. That team had a couple years on the recruiting trail, built up toward this great class that could come in. And I will never forget the picture that Maite Cazorla posted when her career came to an end. That was, here's Matthew Knight Arena freshman year. Here's Matthew Knight Arena senior year. The difference is staggering. These two teams, though, that one that made that run through Duke in 17, and then also did it here, different programs with different experience levels, but I think the roster makeup and the newness to it was maybe more similar than we've all discussed. The narrative even, I know, driving narratives, sorry. That team had reinvented the program under Coach Graves and his staff with all of those great, talented incoming freshmen. This team reinvented the program under Coach Graves and his staff with the transfer portal and having people embrace being Ducks right away. And they both end up winning in the first round as an underdog. And now what's that roster going to look like? You know, Deja Kelly, hopefully a long WNBA career, pro career, right? Philly, what an example of player development for this staff. You know, and Peyton Scott, wishing her nothing but the best. Oh, you talk about someone who is easy to root for, Peyton Scott. And others. Now I feel like this team moving forward, though, they're back. Had the lull. It happens. Now they're back. All right, I want to let you listen to a little bit of the reaction from Coach Graves. So you heard him at the podium. Well, this is talking with Chris postgame. So you can imagine just the raw emotion and Coach, look, just being the Coach Graves that we all know and love postgame. Listen to this right after the season came to a close.
What an effort. You were right there to the final seconds. What do you think was the difference?
Well, I first and foremost, before we analyze the game, I just want to congratulate our team on a great run and a great effort today. I couldn't be prouder of this group. We played really hard and we gave ourselves a chance to win this game. We just took each quarter and tried to break it down. We just wanted to make it a game in the last few minutes. We give ourselves a chance, and we did. And unfortunately, it didn't work out our way. Duke is a really, really good team. They're a 2 seed for a reason, playing here at home. But I just couldn't be proud of our team. You know, we're down. We lose Scotty in an important time of the game, and we don't have Elisa with us. And we played everybody today, and everybody came in and contributed. And I just. Like I said, couldn't be prouder of the group. But give these guys credit. That second half, they kind of upped their intensity, and we were just a little slow to do that ourselves. But once we gained some ground and got our footing again that second half, then we were able to play with them and keep it close. But unfortunately, we just had a tough start to that third quarter.
Yeah, it seemed like the Vanderbilt game and the similarities in terms of players stepping up. I mean, Philly Che had maybe her best game of the season. Deja Kelly had 20 points. What do you think of this seniors' efforts here in a high-pressure game?
Well, listen, they've given us everything. This senior class will be remembered as that group that kind of re-energized the program and got us back, to playing in this kind of stage. Deja, boy, she left it all on the ground or on the court here for sure. And like you said, Philly, Lexi came in and gave us some good minutes. Nani's been really consistent all year long and been, just a real boost for us. Solly, didn't get to play. And that's too bad, but she's going to have a pro career ahead of her somewhere. And then, we love Peyton. I'm just so heartbroken for her right now that she wasn't able to be out there on the court with us at the end. But, she's been battling with those knee issues all year long. And, gosh, let's hope that it's not that ACL a third time. Again, Chris, I appreciate everything you've done and being with us. Congratulations on all your good news. I'll let you break that to the crowd there. Just really all the Duck support that we've gotten at home, everybody that was listening today, you need to be proud of this team because we battled. We battled against these circumstances and gave these guys everything they could handle today.
Yeah, well said. Thank you, Coach. Congrats on the season.
All right, buddy.
That's who Coach Graves is right there. Chris was ready to let's just break it down and then we'll get you out of here, Coach. And what does he do? He says, I'm so proud of this team, so proud of the effort. He talks about individuals that have made a difference in this program. Congratulates Chris, by the way. Had the wherewithal to congratulate him in the moment. Have you said what happened?
I said it on the air right after that.
Okay.
I said that's who Coach Graves is. He brought up the fact that I got engaged this week.
Woo!
And but in a moment where he's so heartbroken, his mind is racing, the adrenaline is still there, and he was thinking of others. He's thinking of his seniors. He's thinking of me and what I'm going through. And I think, look, they've put, as you said, countless hours into this. They're going to analyze everything that happened this year. But his character was shown in that moment that he was thinking big picture about everything this team and everybody around the program has accomplished in that spot.
That's what I mean. That's who he is, right? Congratulations to Chris, by the way. Everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, hey, congratulations. Yeah, so admittedly, your game ended as the men were getting on the bus to go over to practice. The way that it worked out with shoot-around. And so I was going in and out of the post-game at the end, and I actually didn't hear Coach Graves' post-game till afterwards when I listened to the recording. And I just am so appreciative of him and what this team did because, look, last year was tough for a lot of different reasons. And then this year, I saw Brad mention this, just really sad to see the injuries bite the women in the end. And I know that the coaches and everyone else is never going to say that. No coach is ever going to use injuries as an excuse, but it would have made a difference.
Oh, yeah.
It would have. You were there.
Yeah, you think about the defender that Elisa Mevius is against the elite guards that Oregon was facing, certainly would have made a difference. Now, look, Duke's leading scorer didn't play either, so we can go down a rabbit hole of theoreticals, but Mevius is a big part of the team, and that's life, that's sports. It's tough.
The menace.
Mevius the menace.
The menace.
Can't wait to see her come back and everything that's going to go down next year, too.
Oh, the graphics that we can make.
Yes, the marketing.
Just outstanding. But yeah, they never quit. I think that this program is now just in a great place. I look forward to seeing what it's going to look like. And to break a little news on the broadcast, Chris is actually going to record a segment with Coach Graves this afternoon that we'll have for you tomorrow, sort of as he's been able to debrief it and think about it and what's going to happen now for the program moving forward. And then similarly, I'm going to do this a little bit more with Mike Menega tomorrow, turn the page a bit for Oregon men's basketball. Ducks hit the road, hit the ground. That's what you do. That's just what you do. All right, some updates on men and women's golf. Baseball, check in on the comments. Live with us in the 1 o'clock hour. Basketball season just feels like it was too soon. Feels too soon. Timeout. Back to the Country Financial Studio in a moment on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Jan here. Spring is in the air. Time to get back outside with a new Toyota.
Go from dreaming it to driving it. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends March 31st. Toyota. Let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Jan here. Spring is in the air. Time to get back outside with a new Toyota.
Go from dreaming it to driving it. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends March 31st. Toyota, let's go places.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
You know you make me wanna kick my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now, so good to see you real.
We're back in the Country Financial Studio. Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Jack, appreciate your comment on our coverage, and our staff definitely does deserve a thanks from me. I mean, without Chris for the women, second season was a lot better than year one. For Chris, there's no doubt about it. And I've said this on the air a couple times, but Chris deserves a huge shout out, everybody. Filling in for Terry when he was ill, and then calling the season that nobody wanted for the Oregon women last year. And now this year, got to have a little bit of fun. That was fun.
It was. And I think what was extra special, and I was thinking about this actually before calling that first round game, was how amazing is it that the first full season without Terry Johns, the Ducks go back to Durham, right? That's where it all started. That's where the glory era of Oregon women's basketball started and continues to now. Durham, North Carolina, where Oregon made their run to the Sweet 16 with that win over Duke and then made it to the Elite Eight as well. It's amazing how life works out that way. And I think it's extra special that we were able to put together that intro to the broadcast and have Terry's calls and have, that slipper fits just fine for Oregon, the 10 seed getting the win. It just gave me chills to know I was sitting in that crow's nest where Terry Johns was first full year without him. I thought that was really special.
Yeah, I agree. In hindsight, I probably should have sent you that clip before we played it. Again, so Chris...
I didn't know.
Yeah, Chris texts me. Now I feel really bad about that. Chris texts me, Rob Joyce, shout out to Rob for always helping with all of these because we... Dang, I should have warned you.
It's okay.
I should have warned you because it was like, oh, this is great. Like, we get to weave all these things together. So many cool storylines. And, yeah, I can imagine you heard that, and it was probably like, ooh. Okay, here we go.
It was awesome. Yeah, and there was, the way it was constructed, you were able to and I thought about bringing up Terry in the open because I know a lot of Oregon fans that listen would love to hear that. So to hear his calls was really cool, and I thought for them to get a win, even better, right? A dramatic win, just like they did in 2017. They beat Temple on nearly a buzzer beater, beat Vanderbilt in a crazy game in overtime. Everything just fit together really well.
Yeah, outstanding stuff. Well, men's golf today in the Duck Invitational. Ducks are tied for the lead after 36 holes yesterday, and good weather throughout so far. And tracking some of the live scores for Oregon men's golf at ECC, they were sitting in third as a team with still quite a bit of time left on the course. We'll keep you updated. There will be a recap on GoDucks.com tonight, and we'll also have a full breakdown tomorrow. Ducks are now up to second, it looks like. They're coming up on hole 15 at Eugene Country Club. Meanwhile, Oregon women's golf, they were in the lead after 36 holes yesterday, and it seems like every time we talk about Oregon women's golf, they're in the lead. That's just what Derek Radley has built with this team. Play continuing today. Again, we'll have some updates for you on GoDucks.com. Baseball over the weekend. Series win. Saturday didn't go great. Sunday went a lot better for Oregon baseball. You talk about a team, though, that continues to be nationally ranked. They're 10th in 4 polls. They're 11th in 1 poll. There's 5 polls around college baseball that we keep track of. I think I'm just going to start – you know how in recruiting rankings there's like the aggregate rank now? I think I'm just going to start doing the aggregate ranking for Oregon baseball. So they're like 10.2 aggregate ranking based on the fact that they're 10th in 4 and then 11th in 1. But Duck baseball, here's where Oregon baseball is at right now. They lose a game Saturday, get 2 hit, get shut out for the first time all season, and it's like, oh no, what is going on? And that's kind of the way that this baseball team is, that they really do expect to win every single day. And Mark Wasikowski obviously much happier after a series win. He broke it down post-game for the Ducks after another series win. Oregon staying atop those Big Ten standings. Mark Wasikowski after a series win this weekend.
Long chat out there. Just kind of what you go over, how you feel about the series and the win today.
Well, we won the series, and that was the objective today because that's all we could control. We went 1-0 today, and it was good. We won.
I heard you stuck around, kept him a little late for some extra hitting last night. Any takeaways from that today? How did you see that translate into the game?
I think there was some stuff maybe early this morning and stuff like that, but we didn't keep anybody around. It just when you don't play well or whatever, to be honest with you, I go the other way. I get them out of here immediately, tell them to go home and take a hot shower and get a good meal in you and get your mind right for the next day. And we played better today. We had better enthusiasm. We took care of better details today, and it was a cleaner game. It still wasn't perfect, but still yet it was. There were some performances that were elite.
Who were those elite performances for you?
Jacob Walsh at the end. Mason DeVille, after not the best day, he ends up taking a big walk and stealing a base, and then Jacob Walsh, getting a 2-out RBI right there. That was huge for us. At that time to be able to extend the lead to 2 instead of just 1. And then obviously Santiago Garcia coming in with the bases loaded and 2 outs and getting the 5U put out and then going 1, 2, 3 to the top 3 guys in their order. And he did a really nice job against those 3 guys.
You also brought up wanting to see little details improved upon coming into today. What were those that you were wanting to see cleaned up? How'd that kind of translate?
That's a little bit of a deeper dive I kind of won't go into.
Okay. Sounds good. Sanford a little wild, but finds a way to put up a bunch of zeros. Keep it to 1. What did you see from his performance?
Well, he got more competitive as he went. His last 2 innings pitch. I think through 4 innings he clearly wasn't perfect. But then in the 5th and 6th innings, he was able to have 1, 2, 3 innings, a 5-pitch inning and a 12-pitch inning. I thought his competitiveness was elevated then, and we really needed that. It was great to see Will be able to lock in like that.
Kind of the first game he hasn't had affected by weather, and what's that kind of do for a kid in that spot?
Oh, I don't know. It's a good question. Sometimes you get bad weather. It happens in the major leagues, and you got to fight through it. So, for the guys all these guys want to be in the big leagues. They all want to play in the big leagues. They're going to have to fight through rain delays or weather or emotional things, maybe family member stuff that's going on or what. But, it's something that we all have to get better skilled at. And these guys are young. They're only 18 to 24. And so that's the job of the coaches, to be able to try to help them through when it's really hard to play for whatever reason. Cal Ripken, best example. You got to be at your best. And it's bad conditions. It's like, well, compared to what? There's a lot of worse things going on out there than getting a chance to play baseball, even on a wet day or a tough day to be able to play. I think it's kind of comical when you say, oh boy, it was a really hard day to play baseball. Not compared to what else is out there.
Kind of on Jason, he comes out and gets those first 2 strikeouts pretty convincing fashion, and kind of tails off towards the end there. What would you see out of his day?
It was just at the end. He waned at the end. He was really, really good. He had probably some of his best stuff of the year when he first came out, and so it was good to see. Hopefully we could just build on that.
A lot of 2-out hits. How do you feel about those? Obviously, big moments there for some of them.
Yeah, that was the key to them yesterday. They got 7 RBIs with 2 outs, and today they were able to. We did it, and they didn't, which was huge. Be able to kind of stuff them when they had the table set was really a difference in today and yesterday.
What did Santi give you guys out of the pen there? Gets 4 in a row. Just quick work for him, but.
Well, he was huge, right? I think he probably got the save or whatever, how they score that. But, he got the save in the game, and he saw 4 hitters. He was pitching in the toughest time of the game, and he elevated his game. And I don't know if he threw any balls at all today. He was that good. He was really on point with his stuff.
What's it like been kind of seeing him come along so far this year? How do you feel about just kind of where he's at as a piece in this pen?
Well, he comes from a really good program. Central Arizona Junior College is one of the best programs in the entire country. And so start with that. Those guys, they do a tremendous job each and every year. They're in the College World Series, Junior College World Series each and every year. It seems, and they've got players that are leaving there every year and going on to huge schools and succeeding. And so credit to their staff. He's needed to grow and develop here, just like all these kids do, but he's a wonderful young man. He trusted in us to come here after his first year at a junior college, and now he's here, and he's obviously got tremendous talent. He's got ability that, as long as he continues to develop, I'm sure the scouts are going to be chasing him a year from now.
Kind of looking ahead to next weekend, you got 3 series wins under your belt. What are you kind of hoping to see improve, especially with the downtime now from not playing that Tuesday, Wednesday set?
Yeah, it's disappointing. I'm still trying to get a Tuesday game, and I haven't been able to yet. For us, we just need to tidy up some of the things that are glaring. Overall, there's some positives, obviously. I think overall the team defense has been sound, and there's some other things that are going well, but then there's some things, with our strokes. We got long strokes right now. We can shorten those things up, and we can put in some work there to improve that aspect of it. And I think when we do that, we're going to see our best offensive efforts.
Is there anything else you're kind of wanting to see tidied up?
Yeah, some things that I didn't want to go into and won't, but yeah, that and that'll happen.
Sure.
I always love that answer from Waz. That's Mark Wasikowski, Oregon baseball head coach, brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center, better cancer care close to home. So as we're sitting here talking now on Tuesday, the Ducks did not get a Tuesday game on the schedule after those games got canceled out in Ohio today and tomorrow. So just the conference series against Ohio State now scheduled Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Ryan Milano's on the road with Oregon baseball. We'll chat with him from Ohio coming up later this week on Duck Insider. But you heard Mark Wasikowski there say it, right? Like, there are still some things the Ducks want to improve. Consistency on offense, shortening up the swings. I think, though, that the pitching has demonstrated that they'll keep the Ducks in most games. It was a tough day for Colin Clark. Really, the only time that we've seen Colin Clark struggle all year was against Rutgers on Saturday. But overall, it's still a very strong staff. Similar point for the other diamond, Oregon softball. Ducks are up to number 6 in the polls for Oregon softball. Pair of top 10 diamond sports. That's how I feel better after both basketball seasons came to a close in the round of 32 within like 12 hours of each other. Let's talk softball when we come back. Quick timeout. It's Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
Heather and I had an argument just like any other couple. I was lost. I had snapped. I had a gun and I was going to take my own life. Heather helped me realize that there was still a life to live for the better of myself, my family. My weapon is now safely put away.
A moment of crisis can happen to anyone. Store your guns, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo. Hear more safe stories at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
Racy Rosa digs in, swings the first pitch, swing the drive out to left field. It is out of here! Racy Rosa on the first pitch of the bottom of the 7th inning walks it off for the Ducks. 4-3 the final. Oregon sweeps Illinois.
That's what you love to see as we welcome you back to Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. That was Saul Galvan, our OSN broadcast intern extraordinaire, on the call on KWVA. You love walk-offs, huh? Outstanding. A softball weekend review. The Ducks took care of business. Dealt with even some weather, some delays. Ended up scoring like a bajillion runs over the course of a 1 game in 2 days period. Does that make sense? 1 game in 2 days because had to delay and restart and do all these things. And, you know, that's what happens sometimes this time of year, right? How about that, though, for Racy Rosa? Somebody who was kind of truthfully thrust into the spotlight based on availability of players and has stepped up and it seems like gotten better and better every week. Really cool to see that. And for Oregon softball, the Ducks are now up to number 6 in the national polls. Coach Lombardi broke down what I would say was a pretty successful weekend for Oregon softball. Here's Coach Lombardi.
Saw that you were pumping the fist out of the dugout. Just how fun was that to see the walk-off home run? And, I mean, what did you just think of Rosa's approach going in the first pitch?
I love walk-offs because walk-offs say that as long as we have innings, as long as we have outs, we expect to win the ball game. And that anybody in this lineup can do it. So Racy just had a really nice day, and to come up first pitch and walk it off, like that's why we play for moments like that. So
last weekend it was the same situation with Washington. You guys couldn't come away with that third game. What was just different about today that you guys were able to complete the sweep your second time in the Big Ten series?
Yeah, we had to push really hard today. We had to push, and I just honestly, everything Paige had to say, she's right on the money. It's just understanding that just every day brings a new day. I always tell them every day you get a brand new umpire, you get a brand new day, you get just everything is brand new, and what you did prior is what you did prior. It has nothing to do with today. So it's just the whole year. It's learning and growing, and understanding how we're going to just continue to get better. Like, this is a really good team, but we gotta continue to find ways to get better.
Paige talked about the mentality that teams typically have when they're down 2-0 in a series, not wanting to get beat 3 times in a row. And you know better than anybody else, it's really hard to beat a team 3 times in a row. What kind of goes into the mentality of talking to your team before a third game of a series, knowing you're up 2-0, knowing that you're really going to get a really good swing and punch from the team across the dugout from you guys?
For a lot of our young athletes, this is their first time playing in a 3-game series. So they're learning as they're going. We have older athletes like Paige where we've been on both sides of it before, and she gets it. So sometimes you just have to, the best way to learn is the whole going through it. And for us, we learned that today. Like, you got to see that Illinois is not going to walk away and let us sweep them. There's no way. They were coming out with the victory today, and that was all that was going to happen for them. And so for us to know that every game is an individual game, and what you did yesterday really doesn't matter. What is it that you're going to do today? Championships are won on Sundays. So how great can you be on Sundays? That's when championships are won.
Just a general question, if you could explain it, because you know it. The call on the obstruction, what the rule is, because the difference between like Brazy and then when Ayana was going, the catcher was technically in the base pass, but that's a different call. Could you just, the nuance of that?
I would love just to see what the video looks like, just so we can make the adjustment on it. But what we were told from the video is that it shows that we were moving into the baseline premature. That's what it is that you're premature with your positioning. Either your positioning is premature and you're there to begin with and it's obstruction, or you're moving premature, and then that's why they're calling it as well. So, yep, and we got to make that adjustment. We can't, we've had some great throws from the outfield, we had her out by a couple steps, and we need to get that out versus giving up the run because of obstruction. So we'll get that we'll make that adjustment.
You guys are already 2 series in the conference play, but now you get a taste of some Big Ten travel, going all the way to Piscataway. Just what are you looking forward to with that trip? And what does the preparation look like this week with long travel ahead?
I think for us, we've been preparing for this trip for, I feels like all year, and just understanding that, when we do travel, our travels are going to be further than what they've been up to this point, and just the preparation for playing an opponent's the same preparation for, being on the road and maybe having different elements or even different, oh my goodness, the time change, things like that. But this is stuff that we've talked about forever and ever. So now I think we're just excited that it's finally here. The majority of us have never been to Rutgers, so we're really looking forward to it.
Could you just speak to, this is kind of an off-topic question, but the totality of the coaching job? You guys have just done a three-game series, you put in all the work, but after yesterday's game, you're continuing to spend hours and hours doing camps, things like that. It's not just related to what we see out on the field. You're doing all the stuff behind the scenes with you and the staff, and just how that's the overall arch. It's not just what people see on the field. You guys are working and grinding all the time.
Yes, definitely. Just in all areas, all of our areas that are required for us to be great, with the bottom line, it never stops for us. And so lots of times you all don't see that. Today you do see that because, these guys are getting ready to go afterwards, but it doesn't. It's just constant. We'll get our recruiting class and you think okay, we got a couple months off, and we're all right, on to the next. It's just always on to the next. So that mindset with the different things that we do, I would take it right back into each game. You win the game, celebrate, great, on to the next. It's just when we are at our best, we're just constantly on to the next and preparing for what's coming.
Coach Lombardi, head coach, Oregon softball. It was so, I don't even know the right word. When she was talking about how it's okay, it's just on to the next, our recruiting class. And I'm like, here's a coach after a series that was successful at the Jane, talking about that as if it's just so normal. And then I thought to myself, this is exactly what we were just saying with the basketball coaches. Basketball coaches are on to the next. The portal's open. That is so strange. The portal's open. And the Sweet 16's going on. It really is that mentality, though. It's that hyper-competitive. You just see it. And, again, this is Coach Lombardi using this as an example, just on to the next with a game. You're on to the next. I truly am fascinated how little time there often is in sports to think about the losses. And, when you hear, especially in diamond sports, they're often talking about how do we improve? Where do we improve? You just heard Mark Wasikowski talking about that. Well, you get limited practice once you're in the season, especially in the diamond sports. Anyway, now we will go on to the next. Timeout in the Country Financial Studio, wrapping up Duck Insider for today next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial.
Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You say you'd never give in to a meltdown and never fill your feed with kid photos. You say you'd never put a pacifier in your mouth to clean it and never let them run wild through the grocery store. So when you say you'd never let them get into a car without you there, no, it can happen. 1 in 4 hot car deaths happen when a kid gets into an unlocked car and can't get out. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
I want you to know. I said I want you to know right now. You've been good to me, baby. Better than I've been to.
Final segment of Duck Insider on a Tuesday. Oregon baseball, those games at Kent State canceled today and tomorrow, so just Ohio State coming up on the road trip to Ohio for the Ducks beginning on Friday. And tomorrow on the show, as we continue to review a little bit of the basketball season, Chris Clayton is going to sit down with Kelly Graves, do sort of a season debrief now that the season's come to a close, and then look ahead a bit for Oregon women's basketball. Because again, to the point, the theme, turn the page, look ahead, on to the next. How many other ways can we say that? We should figure out how many different ways Kelly Graves says that when he sits down with Chris Clayton for tomorrow's show. That'll be tomorrow's show. We also will hear a little bit from Mike Meniga. I thought that assistant coach Mike Meniga for Oregon men's basketball, he just gave a great, heartfelt post-game conversation to myself and Luke Jackson. I want to play that for you on Duck Insider if you missed it from our broadcast in Seattle. And the way the NCAA tournament works, I actually had a couple people ask me this, like, how come there wasn't a broadcast on GoDucks.com? Like, that's where I listen. Oh, it's an NCAA contract that, how do I say this delicately? It's an NCAA contract that I don't like as a broadcaster for a hometown team, but it's also way above my pay grade, and I like my job. Well, that was good. What a way to end a Tuesday. Okay, we got through it. Now we're going to do it again tomorrow. Diamond Sports, though, playing well. 2 top 10 teams. See you tomorrow.
I'm a pretty great multitasker. I can wash dishes and do laundry.
I can roller skate while walking my dog.
I can even order lunch while doing my homework. But I can't use my phone while driving. A distracted driver is one of the leading causes of death in the United States.